Hi, and welcome to the Weekly Dose. This is the first of our second series in coping with divorce and looking at your personal well being through divorce. Here at the Alpha Center for Divorce Mediation, we do handle all of your legal and financial issues, but we're also very concerned about how you cope afterwards. And today, my guest is Greg Hubbard, who is an attorney mediator with the Alpha Center for Divorce Mediation. And he came to us after having negotiated his own divorce in a very similar style. So he was a perfect fit for our organization. So we're going to talk about a few things. And the first thing we're going to talk about is I never thought this would be my story. So, Greg, even when a marriage is failing, it's still a shock to the system when the divorce is the final option. Can you tell me a little bit about how you kind of got there and what it felt like what all of this avalanche of decisions that suddenly needed to be made?
Yeah, thanks, Barbara. Yeah, it's the end of a 20-year marriage, and we'd had some struggles throughout, and had worked on several things. But as you said, it's still a shock when the end does come. Um, Something you just don't expect to be your story, and and then when it does happen, you mentioned the avalanche of decisions. There's so many things that have to be taken care of all at once. We had three kids who were all at different developmental stages. They all had needs that needed to be dealt with. And there's obviously a lot of financial things that have to be figured out. Um, and under some stress to do that, you have to figure out if you're going to keep your home or not, or if you're going to both move to another place. Um, just so many things that have to be taken care of all at once, all at a time when you're not really at your best emotionally.
Right, right. You're trying to make reasonable, rational decisions for the rest of your life when your life is really just kind of falling apart. And speaking of that, at what point, did you kind of move beyond that a little bit to like start dealing with how you felt?
Yeah, some of this might be based on my own personality. I'm not saying I recommend how I did it, but for me, there were so many things that had to be taken care of that I focused on all those things for about 3 months. It was probably 90 days that I was just, my main focus was how are the kids doing? How are we going to navigate these finances? Are we going to sell this house? What are we going to do? And of course, there was the personal, emotional side that found its way to come out. But for the first 90 days, I felt just overwhelmed with things that just had to be done, or at least it felt that way.
Right, and kind of like it's almost a good thing that those things are in front of your face right then and there because it's probably very difficult to deal with the emotional aspect right up front, and especially being a parent. You kind of put things on hold because you want to make sure that the kids are taken care of first.
Yeah, it's obviously almost everybody I work with now in mediations who have kids, it's their number one concern is how are our kids doing through this? How can we make sure to take good care of them? And obviously it's going to be difficult for them, but to give them the best opportunity to rebound from it and to do well. So that's where your attention goes early on. And there are so many other people you have to tell as well. The some of the work I was doing professionally at the time, it just required me to sit down and tell a lot of people what was happening to some degree, and all that just takes a toll.
It does. It does. I know. It's like you think that this just happened to you, but it happened to an entire circle of people. So, so in any case, I would like to kind of talk a little bit about how you then came to the Alpha Center and how you
Okay.
brought your background in coping with this and finding a way through it to become an attorney mediator for Alpha.
Yeah, you never know what things lead to. It was kind of like the universe aligned to this in some ways. It was after much of the most difficult time of this had passed for me, and we had worked through our divorce. I was an attorney, although I hadn't been doing divorce mediations, and we worked through the details of our divorce largely around a table with the two of us just talking through it and me being able to write it up in legal terms. So we accidentally did what the Alpha Center does, only not nearly as comprehensive a version because we were just finding our way through it. And I've often said I wish I had known about the Alpha Center because there's some things we could have probably done a little better with our kids and so forth had we known. But we did the best we knew how to do, and it was shortly after that that I got in touch with Keela Gilbert and the Alpha Center and found out that there was a much more comprehensive way of doing this, and that it just seemed meaningful for me to be part in seeing other people through the journey I had been on recently.
And I can attest that your clients really feel all of that when they work with you. So
That's
you
great.
took the sensible, logical approach and made it work, which is kind of like what we say about our divorce mediation program. So I want to thank you for sharing so much of your journey here with our audience. If you'd like to read Greg's blogs on our website, you can go to alpha-divorce.com and you can find them there. Also, we offer a workshop called My Divorce RX, Grow Wiser, Stronger, and Happier. And what we do is we talk to people whose marriage is ending. We have an attorney, we have a therapist, we talk to people about how the personal well-being, how to take care of themselves through this process. So I want to thank you, and I want to invite you to our next weekly dose where we'll talk a little bit more with Greg. For more information, you can contact us at 800-310-9085, or you can email me at alphaoutreach@alpharesourcecenter.com. Thank you so much for joining us today.